Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all doing great and that you're following the 3 H's of the channel. In this video, I have encounters with things that you definitely do not want to mess with. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, pull up a stump with me and let's get into it. Thank you for watching. I have this experience that scared the hell out of me. I remember it just like it was yesterday. I woke up late one night and I thought, well, I'm not really tired anymore, so I figured I'd play video games until I get sleepy again. So I go down the hall to where my PC is, and what I see is a 6-foot tall figure. It was mostly just a silhouette. That's all I could make out. I thought it was my brother, and I said, "Yo, can you move so I can do some stuff on the computer?" There's no response. At this point, I can't tell if it's facing me or if it has its back to me. So I flick the light on. The light won't work. But then I feel this really strong, staticky feeling in the air. I begin to panic for some reason. The whole situation is getting really creepy, really fast. I say, bro? This thing turns around to face me. It's not my brother. This thing, whatever it is faceless. Blacker than black. The only thing I can make out are 2 indents where eyes may be or may have been. At this moment, I thought that we were getting robbed. I said, "Listen, whatever you want, my money, my computer, take it. Just don't hurt me or my family." But the thing's gone. Within the time it took me to blink and take a step back, poof, nothing. I don't know what the hell was in my room that night. But I also haven't seen it since, and I don't want to ever see it again. I had something happen to me way back before I owned any firearms. Usually, I don't like bringing this up because it was one of the few times in my life that I was seriously afraid of dying. It wasn't deep ocean, it was a local lake here in Oklahoma. I haven't been back to it ever since this happened. I really don't like dark water, or water that I can't see through now. I also don't fish anymore. I was 11 years old. I was on summer vacation with my mom, my little sister, and the new stepdad. This was before that I found out that he was a worthless drunk POS. Now, we were camping at Lake Tenkiller. So my stepdad owned a little boat, little 16-footer. About 7 feet wide, and a single 12-horsepower motor. It was big enough for fishing and trolling around the lake. It even had paddles. So we were staying at Cooks and Bend public campgrounds. We get up one morning, have breakfast, and decide to go down to the lake on the boat. All of us pile in, and we have some fun for a good few hours. We make a stop at the island next to Strayhorn Landing to do some fishing and refuel. My stepdad overfills the tank, and some gas spills over onto the motor. No big deal, right? Well, you'd be wrong for thinking that. We start the motor, and the motor catches fire. We end up turning the boat upside down, just to put out the motor because it just will not go out. The motor now is effed up beyond all repair. Foobar. Coils are screwed, it won't restart without them. And I thought at this point, even as an 11-year-old, F me. We were miles from our campsite, on an island, no emergency flares, but we did have the paddles. So we start paddling back toward our campsite in the middle of the day in the Oklahoma summer. It takes literally hours. Towards sunset, we eventually get near the shoreline. I jump out to pull the boat along rather than row one more second. I ended up getting 2nd-degree burns from this. I still have the scars on my shoulders from the sunburns. It was just past sundown now. I was in the water, pulling the boat. I was loving the cool water because it's been so hot all day. At this point, we were maybe a mile from campsite. I'm in the water up to my neck because it just felt that good on the sunburn. Everyone else on the boat is quiet. I'm pretty sure they were napping. I hear a splash off to my left, out toward deeper water. I don't really pay attention though. I'm just trying to get back to camp so I can die in peace in my sleeping bag. I'm walking along, and then something clamps down on my ankle all the way up to my shin and jerks me hard out toward the deeper water. I go underwater, but manage to hold on to the rope that I'm pulling the boat with. I swallow water when I scream, coughing and choking, but kicking the ever-loving hell out of whatever has me. And then I get clawed by something while it's still on my ankle and shin. It finally lets go, and I shoot out of the water like an ICBM. I pull my ass into the boat, coughing, crying, half screaming. There's blood everywhere. There were no chunks bitten out, but I was clawed all the way down to the shin bone, and bite marks that cut and cracked my bone. My stepdad took over and got us back to the campsite. I ended up going to the ER where they butterflied me up and wrapped it. They gave me a removable leg brace since I had to keep the wound clean as well. The doctor said that they would have cast it instead. It ended up being a leg brace for the rest of the summer. The rangers were pretty baffled by this. Their best guess was a huge alligator snapping turtle that got me, that it had to be over 5 feet long and probably 200 to 250 pounds or so. This is why I don't go into lakes anymore, and I don't like water that I can't see in. I was probably only underwater for 10 to 15 seconds, but it felt like forever. As for what it was, I don't know, but something tells me that it wasn't just a snapping turtle. So this happened in the winter of 2006. I offered to house sit for my cousin who lives in Texas while he goes to a friend's wedding. I was also kind of friends with the guy, but we weren't super close. We're more new friends, so it was no problem with me not going. My girlfriend comes along with me. The drive itself is about 9 hours from where I was living at the time. The house, though, is super cozy. It's a 1-story house. It's pretty far back in the woods. There's an actual pretty long driveway, the kind that you'd easily hear someone if they were coming onto your property. The first day or two, we settled in, and nothing of interest happened. It was actually super quiet, super nice. The third day, though, my girlfriend tells me that she was out in the woods surrounding the house, and she got this odd feeling, that feeling of being watched. I assumed that it was just her being her. She gets a little skittish whenever we go to new places for an extended period of time. But no, this time I actually went out there with her, and those woods were super creepy. The third night is when I start hearing something too. I had the windows cracked open. The screens are still in them, but I was able to hear if anything was going on outside. I started to think that it was some kind of small animal. Maybe a deer making its way through the yard. I roll over. I try to go back to sleep. I'm nodding off when I notice that my girlfriend has a look of pure fear on her face. She says, "Honey, there was just this big effing thing that walked by the window." She whispers as quietly as she can. I turn around to see if it's still there. I see nothing, but I can hear that something is walking around out there. It seems to be walking back into the woods, and it's just thrashing everything in its way. Neither of us can sleep that night. I end up keeping the TV on some game shows to try and calm her and hell, even me, down. The next day, I decide that I should go out and check out the area. There's branches snapped. More importantly, it honestly looks like something just walked right through some brush and annihilated it. My only thought, seeing how seemingly effortlessly that this was all done, I just thought, damn. You know, like Ron Simmons from WWF, just like that. So I kept exploring the woods a little further, and I noticed that there were some tracks too. But these were like dog tracks, and these were some big-ass dog-like prints. My expression changes from damn to WTF. To give you an idea, My hand was able to fit right into the center palm of the foot. I began by looking where I came from, and I started making my way back. I had no clue what the hell this was. Eventually, it leads me back to the house. I go in. My girlfriend's in the kitchen. She says, "Are you okay? You're insanely pale. What happened?" I tell her what I saw, and she said, "Yeah, there's definitely something out there." I call my cousin/friend, the guy I'm house sitting for. He answers with a, "What's this about?" Not a "hi" or "how's it going" or anything. I ask him. I'll call him Jerry. That's not his real name, but it suits this. I ask him if there's any wild dogs in the area, maybe some unnaturally large ones. He pauses. He says, look, this is not the time to be talking about this, but I'll explain it to you when I have time." And then he hung up on me. Obviously, this made me feel many type of emotions. But later on that day, Jerry calls back, and he tells me that he has this searchlight-like thing that he uses. My girlfriend and I spend an afternoon setting them up across the yard. Night falls, and we set them on. We get ready for bed, but my girlfriend asks me if I saw what I think I saw. I tell her yes, absolutely. They were canine footprints the size of my hand and bigger. Even with all these lights on, all around the premises, we find it just too hard to actually fall asleep, but she eventually passes out around midnight. Around 12:30 or 1 is around when I hear a noise. I slip out of bed as quietly as possible, and I hide under the window, peeking up to see if this thing is back. It's cutting through, coming from around the back into the side of the house. I quickly leap back into bed. This, of course, wakes my girlfriend up, and as much as I try to get her to calm down, she freaks. I turn around, and there it is. It's huge. It's about 7 feet tall, has pure white fur, canine wolf-like facial features, yellow eyes staring back at us as we catch a glimpse of it. It looks like it's carrying some kind of smaller animal, maybe a pig or something on its shoulder, while it bares fangs at us briefly. And just after that, another one appears, about 2 feet shorter than the other one. This one has darker fur, the same color eyes, and baring these long teeth at us. The taller one looks down to the shorter one and snarls. The shorter one stops what it's doing and darts off. The taller one growls and turns its back to us and walks, not runs, walks back into the woods. We hear the two rustling from the woods as they head back into the forest to Lord knows where. At that moment, I immediately grab my phone. I tell my girlfriend to lock the bedroom door and call 911. As soon as I tell her to do this, I think to myself, what the hell am I going to tell them? That I saw 2 wolfmen? They're not going to believe that. They're going to think I'm on drugs. So I end up lying to the cops. We tell them that there were 2 suspicious people walking around on our property. After this, a half hour passes. It's quiet. And then we hear a car pulling into the driveway, lights flashing, and we think, thank God, the cops have shown up. In the meantime, waiting for them, my girlfriend and I came up with the lie that there were 2 tall people who were dressed really oddly and were sneaking around our property. I tell them that my cousin Jerry lived there and that we were house sitting while he was away at a wedding. The cops look at us funny when taking statements. They skulk around a bit, but don't find anything of importance. They tell us to give them a call if anything further happens. We exchange numbers, and they're off on their merry way. My girlfriend and I proceed to lock every door imaginable in that place and lock ourselves in the bedroom. I take a knife with me from the kitchen, just in case. I have no idea where a gun could be, and I would have to ask Jerry, and I don't even know if he'd be available to answer. We spend the rest of the night awake, the TV on, but we do not at all go back to sleep. Eventually, sunrise comes, and we pass out. Day 5, I woke up at around 2 p.m. I get a call from Jerry. He says, the police called me. Is everything okay at the house? I tell them that we're fine, but I ask him if he keeps a gun. He tells me that all he has is a handgun locked in a safe in his closet. He gives me the combination, and then he says, "What happened?" I spill the beans to Jerry and tell him not to think of me as crazy, but I tell him what I saw. He's actually really nonchalant and calm about it. He says, "Man, you're not a nutbag. I see them all the time." And yes, you're hearing this right. He told me that he sees them all the time. Jerry tells me that the big white one is the most common one, that he thinks that that one is like a pack leader or something, since the smaller or shorter ones seem to not screw around with it too much and listen to it. He tells me that whatever I do, just try to be calm and do not instigate any fights with it. I begin to ponder on that pack leader thing, especially after the interaction between the big white one and the smaller, darker one. I got one more day. Jerry gets back the next evening. Eventually, day 5 turns into night 5. We keep the house locked down. We keep the TV on mute, but we keep any weapon we can find in the bedroom. On this night, they arrive early. It's only 10 p.m. when it starts. I grab Jerry's gun and start stalking around from inside the house. There's 4, not 2 of them this time. I estimate this from how different all of them were. The lights were shining from the outside, but I got a good look at the group as they dash in and out of the woods. All 4 had what appeared to be black fur, and all of them were roughly 5'8" to 5'11". My girlfriend comes running into the living room. She was saying about how it walked right up to the bedroom window. I start sitting on the couch in the living room, as the one that peeked into the bedroom had come around the house. While scared, I don't think it wanted to hurt us. I think it was just curious in a way, maybe of who or what we were. Maybe we were different than who was used to seeing. As soon as it appeared, I kept the gun pointed at it, and that's when it hit. A very audible, guttural growling. The backyard lights are on, and it gave us a better look of it. It's the white one. The smaller black one goes running up to it. Getting a better look at it, this white one was kind of chunky, not super overweight, but there was a little bit of a gut on it. I lunged back to the couch after seeing it walk over to where it saw the smaller one, and there we are, face to face with the large white dog man. This stare down goes on for about 2 minutes. It's like the smaller one is still scared, but I still didn't think it was going to kill us, though it made very clear without words that it was not to be effed around with. After the stare down, it bellows out. After that, I hear what sounds like the others running back into the woods again. I run out the kitchen door to try and get a glimpse of this. I see them gone, but 2 pairs of yellow eyes are just staring back at me as the white one walks back. It's got an obvious limp and is slower than the others. I hear it growl at the one staring back as it walks into the darkness. Day 6 arrives. My girlfriend and I are discussing what the hell this is all about. Jerry finally comes back around 8 that night. He tells us that we could crash with him that night if we didn't want to make the trip back. We tell him it's cool, but we'll be fine. We don't discuss the sightings with him any further. My girlfriend and I are about 45 minutes into our ride home. It's pitch black out, but that doesn't deter us. I have the radio on to calm our nerves while listening to what I think was some talk show. My girlfriend points at me to look out the window. There he is again, the 7-footer, the white fur, hanging out by the side of the road, eating an animal carcass. He looks up and back at us. My heart is racing that he's going to lunge at the car, or worse, some others are going to try and jump the car and rip us out of it. Every conceivable horror movie thought goes through my head. But nothing of that sort happens. After looking at us, he just goes back to his meal shortly after. We still decide to just get the hell out of there faster than before. So fast, in fact, that when I got back into the nearest town, I got pulled over for speeding, and I was just gonna take the ticket. I'm not gonna tell the cop that we were running from werewolves. This isn't me or my girlfriend's first creature sighting, or even paranormal experience. It was her first experience with dogmen or werewolves, though. I've been back to Jerry's property since. Over the years, my sightings of the big white one declined significantly. Last time, I think it was maybe 2012 when I saw it. Maybe it's aged and died since. Maybe they moved on. I don't know. Those encounters were absolutely intense. Now, if you have any ideas what you think what was in the water with him, let me know your opinion down in the comments, and I'll try to get to them all and I'll try to read them. And if you would like to submit your own story to the channel, there's an email in the description below. There's a link to a PayPal and a Patreon and memberships and super thanks here on YouTube if you want to support the channel a little bit further. But if you liked the video, then make sure to like and subscribe, share, tell all your friends, and all that good stuff. And I will hopefully see you in the next one. Thank you for pulling up a stump with me. Thank you for watching. Have a good week.